Good morning. We are doing the Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 7. We had completed till verse 11. And last time we were speaking more on the different issues connected to Maya. So today we are going to do it further. How Maya interacts with you and how delusional is she. Actually, Maya means illusion, but the illusion becomes a delusion for everybody very fast. So let us see. So we are doing the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 12 onwards. Whatever other entities there are, born of Sattva, those are born of Rajas and Tamas. Know them all as evolved from me alone. In reality, however, neither do I exist in them nor do they in me. Now, this is a line which is very critical from those who believe in the divine. See, when we believe in the divine and we have learned so far the idea that there is a soul in every human being, and this soul is a part of the bigger soul, super soul, God Almighty. This is the belief system. Got it? But that is wrong. It is not that we are a part of the divine. See, the idea that we are a part of the divine is absolutely wrong. And that the divine is within us is also wrong. This line tells us, know that all has evolved from me alone, that it has come from me alone. In reality, however, neither do I exist in them and they in me. So let us look at it from this perspective. There is a body of water which we call as a lake or something like that. And inside the lake, there are fishes. There are fishes inside the lake. They are staying inside the lake, right? So if I look at the lake from outside, do the fishes become a part of the lake? Very much so. But are the fishes and the water the same? No. It is not the same. Fishes are living creatures and water is water. There are creatures inside that lake. Similarly, there could be water snakes also. There could be small toads. There could be other plants, there could be a lotus. There could be various other things inside that water. Is the water a part of that fish? No. See, I can only give you certain examples which can click in your mind. But this is just a very vague example which I gave you. So if you are the fish, is the water in you? No. The water is not in you because you are just a fish. Are you mixed in the water? No, you are swimming in the water. You are not dissolved in the water. Are you dissolved in the water? No. So as a fish, you are independent of water. But if the water is not there, can the fish be alive? It can't be alive. It needs water to be there. So this is just a simple understanding. So who created these fishes? Inside the water, there were fish eggs which were laid by some previous fish, and these other fishes, the new ones, got developed. From the egg they came out. So it is because of the water that the fishes existed. This is an example. So now let us look at the statement which is being made over here. Whatever other entities there are born of Sattva, or rajas or tamas. Know them as evolved from me alone. The entities which are full of sattva or rajas or tamas. Now the three gunas we have already seen in the past. That means in the past satsangs we had actually understood a lot of sattva, rajas and tamas. So there are lots of entities which come about because of sattva, rajas and tamas. They are mixed with it. Now, is the sattva independent of rajas and tamas? No. It could be sattva, rajas, tamas all mixed in one. It could be sattva and rajas mixed in one. It could be rajas and tamas mixed in one. It really doesn't matter. It depends on the time and the place and the way in which you are going about your lifetime. Suppose you are a pure human being who is given to only prayers, doing your daily ablutions and living the life of a pure human being. You are truthful, you are kind, you are compassionate, you are loving, everything positive in you. Then you are a sattvic being. But the moment you say, I am so and so, you are tainted by rajas. And then, if you take it too much to your mind and say that I am the greatest on planet Earth, finished. You have gone into the tamasic mode. So, from rajas to sattva and from sattva to rajas or from sattva to rajas to tamas, gradations, they happen like this. But rising, it's very difficult. From tamas to rajas and from rajas to sattva is extremely difficult. See, climbing is difficult. Falling down is easy. So all these qualities, they are born of Krishna. You will wonder, how is it that these qualities can be born of Krishna? Krishna's other image is Maya. It is his Maya. We will learn in the future how to overcome Maya. See, today I cannot teach you about how to overcome Maya. First, we got to understand Maya in her entirety. If I don't understand Maya, how will I know how to overcome her? Isn't it true? So, he says, whatever entities that are there, they are born of sattva, that is goodness, quality of goodness, born of rajas, which is the principle of activity, and tamas, inertia. So, all these three are existing, and they are, know them as evolved from me alone. They have literally evolved from me. They have come from me alone. See, evolution means change, isn't it? When you evolve means change. So they have changed from me. They have actually come out of me and taken their form, whatever the form might be. So this way we have an understanding that Sattva, Rajas and Tamas has evolved from Krishna alone. In which format? In the format of Prakriti. Remember, there is a Purusha principle and a Prakriti principle. The Prakriti is the mother of everything. She is called the mother. Okay? Prakriti is Ma. And from Ma, everything has come out. And because everything has evolved from her, so the understanding is everything has evolved from Krishna alone. Though Krishna is not directly involved in the action, but he is still there. It's a background, it's a framework on which everything has evolved. Then he says, in reality, however, neither do I exist in them. In the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, I don't exist. No. And nor do they in me. I am not tainted by Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So Krishna is not tainted by Sattva, Rajas and Tamas also. So Krishna is beyond Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Got the answer? He is beyond Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So he can't be tainted by it. Then he says, they don't exist in me. See, existing in me means Krishna is going to be like that, isn't it? So we will say Krishna is Sattvic, Krishna is Rajasic, Krishna is Tamasic. Isn't that how you will look at it? So he says it is nothing like that. Who is having the Sattva Guna? In Krishna, if I say evolution means coming out or change, Krishna changing into Vishnu. The Narayana form, which again is like the Mahavishnu, Vishnu form, which is there. Now these are multiple forms, so I can only give you the Vishnu form. Just now at this moment, let us only think of this. He is Sattvic in nature. But is he Krishna? No, he is not Krishna. He has evolved from him by taking the root of Sattva. From Krishna, another evolution happened in the form of Rajas, and that became Brahma. You know Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, like that. So that became Brahmaji. So Brahmaji is the creator. So the principle of sustenance is Vishnu, the one which is of the creator is Brahma. But is Brahma Krishna? No. Is there any ounce of it in Brahma, of Krishna? No. If that were so, then it would have been completely different. So Brahmaji is connected to the Rajasic Guna. And then from him, from Krishna, evolved another, which is called Tamas. That Tamas evolution is called Shiva. Okay? And that is the third form. So first form is Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. These are tainted by the three gunas. The first guna, Sattva, Vishnuji. Second one, Brahmaji. Third, Shivji. So these three gunas got spread out. Now they have their dynamic principle also, where Vishnu has the dynamic principle called Lakshmi. Brahmaji has Saraswati and Shiva has Parvati. So these are three principles which are the dynamic, which is what we call as a Shakti form. The form of energy, the form of creation, the form of putting out in this world. Alright? So it is nothing but a dynamic form. So these are the three entities connected to these three principles called Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Got it? So this is understood. Now in all this, where is Krishna? So did you get it? There is no Krishna in it, because that is exactly what it says. In reality, however, neither do I exist in them, nor do they in me. So these entities, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they don't exist in me. The Sattva, Rajas and Tamas don't exist in me. And I am also not in them. I am not in them and they don't exist in me. So we are separate. Under the evolution, the point of evolution, it evolved into, it came out or progressed or transformed into. Alright, so we have done this verse. So let us move to the next one. So we are doing chapter 7 from the Bhagavad Gita. We are doing verse 13. The whole of this creation is deluded by these objects evolved from the three modes of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. That is why the world fails to recognize me standing apart from these, the imperishable. So let the bike go, then I will say this verse again. So in chapter 7, verse 13, Sri Krishna is explaining the whole of this creation is deluded by objects evolved from the three modes of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. That is why the world fails to recognize me, standing apart from these, the imperishable. I am the imperishable. Nobody recognizes me. Absolutely no one recognizes me. They can only see sattva, rajas, and tamas. That's it. In the sattva guna, they can only see Vishnu and the entire creation of Vishnu. In the Rajoguna, they can see Brahmaji, activity based. And in the Tamoguna, inertia based, they can see only Shiva and everything connected to him. But nobody can see me. It is actually, I am there, but nobody can actually see me. See, that is why the world fails to recognize me. I am the ultimate. I am the ultimate. Beyond Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, beyond Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, I am ultimate. And yet nobody recognizes me. This is a very crucial statement in the Bhagavad Gita. Now this is a statement even in all the other scriptures as well, but nobody understands the scriptures. They fall only at Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Everybody stops at that. Why do they stop at that? Think. Why does a person stop at Sattva, Rajas and Tamas? See, it is like this. You have a vision with lots of limitations. So many limitations. You have so many limitations that you can't see and do things beyond your control. You can't. Someone was saying that I was able to sleep early yesterday. Why? So I said, you must have worked very hard. Oh yes, of course. Working very hard. WH, work from home. WFH, whatever that is. Work from home. You really work very hard. How many hours? You worked for 6 hours. Wow. You went out and came. Wow. That is why you are tired. But is that the ultimate? How much can you work? As a human being, you should be able to work for 18 hours. In India, we are coming up with a law. Okay. And the law states that you have to work for 10 hours or 12 hours. Everybody is getting upset. 10 hours of working? 8 hours was good enough. Now 40 hours like this. Oh my God, this is not correct. Human beings have the capacity to work for many, many hours. We have never extended ourselves. How much can you work? Have you ever tried to find out how much you can actually physically work? No, we have never tried. You walk for 5 kilometers and you say, "Oh, I'm exhausted." You are exhausted while walking for 5 kilometers? Think about it. If you have to go from Kanyakumari to the Himalayas, how many years do you think you are going to take to walk that much of distance? If you get tired in 5 kilometers and 6 kilometers, do you really think you will be able to walk? Look at Shankaracharya. By the time he was 16, he had walked all over India. And human beings get tired walking. They get tired working. How strange is that? We set limitations in our mind. That is why we cannot function. If we set limitations to ourselves, do you think there is going to be any progress? Not at all. If you set limitations and say this is it, your progress is not going to happen. Stretch yourself, stretch beyond, stretch. You will be able to do. I tell certain people, because this is our times of pandemic, so I tell them, you know what? You people are smart people. You have to sit at home. Of course, you have to sit at home. Maybe you can just go out here and there and come back. You can't travel. Can you sit at home and do a lot of things? No, I am working for a company. I am doing this, I am doing that. It takes my whole day. Oh, really? Earlier, you would drive down 2 hours and drive back 2 hours. Those 4 hours of your life, where are they now? Was it physical labor? Driving and driving back, driving there and driving back? Yes, that was physically you are doing it. And then to get ready, dress up and go to work. Today you don't dress up to work. That half an hour or 1 hour that you would have spent otherwise, no, that is also gone. And you get exhausted working from home. You have never trained yourself. So did you understand the limitations set by sattva, rajas and tamas in you? You have become tamasic in nature. Where is the sattva left in you? The third word, tamas, is called inertia. There is no rajas today. You are not going out anywhere. Are you working physically? No. Are you doing anything physically? No. You are sitting in front of a computer and giving talk. Or you are sitting in front of a phone and say, hello, okay. Most of the time you are on mute. And you may be doing some other work. Or maybe, in the kitchen or in the plants or somewhere else. You are physically not even there. So where is the sattva guna in all this? In the laziness of inertia, there is hardly any rajas. There is no activity. Physical activity and other activity is not there. Yeah, physical activity, creating babies is a different story. That is what we did last week. See, we were doing conjugal desires and all last week. Yes, I don't want to go in that direction. Today I'm just thinking, what is it that you are doing? There is another country in this world called China. I was telling my disciples, I said, have you ever gone to the Facebook page of the different cities in China and go and see what they are doing? The kind of thing that they are doing is amazing. And now think about, they have villages. They call them villages, by the way. If those are villages, what are you in India? You got what I am saying? They are minting money. They are making innovations. Their life is going in a fast pace. They are making trains which are going at the rate of 260 miles per hour, approximately 600 plus kilometers per hour. Super fast trains, and those are maglev trains. That is magnetic levitation, we call it. In India, if I have to think of maglev trains, 2100. Because we are becoming lazier. Tamas is setting in. We just want to fight political battles with each other. Oh, I am a Hindu, you are this, you are that. This jihad, that jihad, what are you doing? Sir, see that other country, they are going faster ahead of you. And you are talking about not doing this and not doing that. We have farmers' agitation over there. Farmers are agitating in Delhi. In that country, they are making the rivers go to that place. I am not saying that India is bad. I am just telling you how they are Rajasic in nature. Their issues are billions of dollars worth. We have couple of billionaires. They have tons of billionaires. We have few aircraft. They have number of aircrafts. We have one aircraft carrier and second one under production. They have multiple aircraft carriers. Okay? They are buying countries and companies left, right and center. What are we doing? What is America doing? The United States, which was the capital of capitalism, look at the stupid trains they are running in New York City. They are the worst trains. They have no improvement also. Look at the trains across that country also. Here they are putting up 600 kilometers per hour trains. 600 kilometers per hour trains means it will take less than 2 hours to reach from here to Delhi. From Bangalore to Delhi, 2 hours. From here to my airport, it takes me more than 1.5 hours. Taking an Uber. First, the Uber will not come also. That fellow will cancel. And then the next one who comes says, Saab, mera machine barabar nahi hai. My network is not good. Can I cancel this trip and can you pay me cash? This kind of corruption is there in India. How stupid are we? That is the reason, because of tamas. We are filled with tamas. If you are working for 8 hours or 6 hours sitting in front of a computer and you think that you are tired, you are shameful creature. Shameless. You should be working 10, 12 hours a day. And today's day and age, at least from tamas come to rajas. You can't even walk 10 kilometers and 20 kilometers. You are walking 5 kilometers 3 times or twice in a week and you get, I'm exhausted. What are you doing? Shame on everybody. Krishna is saying this whole world is tainted by this sattva, rajas and tamas. He says the whole of creation is deluded by this prakriti. The objects evolved from the 3 modes of prakriti, sattva, rajas and tamas. That is why the world fails to recognize me. Nobody can know Krishna in today's day and age. I can guarantee you this much. For one very simple reason, it is not possible to recognize him in the first place. Do you think anybody in this world today can recognize Krishna? When you are full of tamas, there is no way. Remember chapter 7 verse 13. Standing apart from this, I am apart from sattva, rajas and tamas. People are full of tamas, gunas are filled in them. I have people who say, oh, I am a devotee of Krishna. Is that so? And I humor them. When somebody says that they have worked really hard and they are tired, I humor them. I humor idiots in my world, you know that? Every time when a person says, oh my God, I'm so exhausted, I actually humor them. I look at them in pity. I say, sir, idiots they are. What are you doing? Do you really think you will know Krishna from any angle? And on top of it, people are interested in making babies, getting married. More tamas. No knowledge here, nothing. If I ask them what is the 10% of 300, they will have to calculate. And then they will say, I'll just take I'll take my phone and calculate in it. It doesn't click in their brains also. They don't know what is happening beyond their nose also. Funniest part of it all. Indians are still celebrating the coming of age. You know, coming of age? Somebody has puberty, they celebrate that. You're celebrating puberty. You're a nincompoop. The other nations are going ahead, way ahead in the game. And you are still politically motivated. We are still trying to find our old roots. We are trying to dig up our old roots and try to find them. We are going backwards in ancient times. And the world is going forward in modern times. Post-modern times, you can say, or beyond that. We are not even making an effort. Great countries. There are nations which are literally going to the dogs. Yesterday, in one of the countries, they shot 110 people and they took their wives and children. For what purpose? The Boko Haram group. For what purpose? Think about progress. Nobody is thinking. So in all this, can you see sattva, rajas or tamas? Decide for yourself. What do you see in this world? Qualify in one of these. Go and truthfully write. Am I tainted by sattva or rajas or tamas? Sattva means goodness. You have to be the best, good, kind, compassionate, loving, caring, devotional, God-fearing, God-loving creature. 24/7 you are in the midst of the divine. You think only of the divine. Are you sattvic like that? No. Cross it out. Rajasic in nature, activity-based, total activity-based. You work 18 to 20 hours a day. You make money. You have knowledge. You grow every day by reading books, doing, transactions across the world. I can say we have a handful of people in that. Handful of people. Just a few. They are Rajasic. Now think about Tamasic. You don't have any goodness. Nobody is sattvic in nature. Not a single person. There isn't a single person in this world who can be called as sattvic 24/7 thinking of God. Is there anybody there? Zero. Even those people who wear orange color clothes, they are thinking, आज खाना क्या मिलेगा? लगाना चरस थोड़ा सा हुक्का लगा ये लगा. Come on, what are you doing, man? There is no sattva in you also. Rajas, hardly anybody is active. They get tired working for 6 hours. Exhausted. And on top of it, if I tell them, go out and come, they are still more exhausted. And then we come to, because Rajas also is very few. Just on handful people are Rajasic in nature. So we come to the last one. So 2 crossed out. Sattva crossed out. Rajas crossed out. Now Tamas. How many are Tamasic in nature? The whole nation, the whole world, 99% of the people are Tamasic. China not included. It took them 20 years to become a world power. India can take 200 years to become that. And still we will be nowhere. I am ashamed of this. 2001 till 2020. Those fellows are sitting with trillions of dollars. And we have $2.4 trillion or $2.5 trillion is our GDP. It is shameful. So now when you cannot even get out of tamas, the answer is, that is why the world fails to recognize me. Standing apart from this, I am the supreme controller of this world. Krishna says this to Arjuna. This he is saying when? When did he say these words? He said it in the battlefield in Kurukshetra. When Krishna died, Kali Yuga started. The Yuga of Kali started, complete tamas. But this time when he is talking about is the end of the third Yuga. The Dwapara was coming to an end. At that time Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, today when I am there in this world, nobody recognizes me, not a single person, including you Arjuna, you don't recognize me. Because you are also filled with tamas. You are also filled with rajas. There is hardly any sattva in you. Think about it. At that time Krishna said these words. Today's day, can anybody recognize even K of Krishna? No. That is why the world fails to recognize me. I will come in this world a million times, a billion times, and yet nobody will know who I am. Because it is impossible to go beyond tamas today. We'll go to the next verse. Chapter 7, Bhagavad Gita, verse 14. For this most wonderful Maya, that is the veil of mind, consisting of the three gunas, that is sattva, rajas and tamas, is extremely difficult to break through. Those, however, who constantly adore me alone are able to cross it. Nobody can break through the veil of Maya. And in today's day and age, when there is absolutely none to break through the veil of Maya, how can anybody break out from that Maya? The tamas has become so strong that nobody can even wake up from that. When I tell people you have to work so hard, you have to do this, you have to do that, they turn around and tell me, "ये company कोई company है? This is the worst company of all. People are not good. Nobody is working over there." Sir, I am not talking about the company. I am not talking about other people. I am not talking about the way pandemic is going on. I am not talking about any of the things. I am talking about YOUU. The difference is you have to make. I am not bothered about the company. How many companies are there in this world where nothing was happening? Entrepreneurs in the past took a company and made billions out of it. Isn't it true? Think. Somebody considers something as a waste. Hey, there's nothing in it. What am I going to do? Someone else comes along, and that someone else makes the biggest change of all. Many years, many years, the country was floundering. Suddenly, one great leader comes along, changes the face of the economy. Isn't it true? I am telling you to be the change. The world is already gone to the dogs. The company has gone to the dogs. There is no money in the company. There is nothing in India. There is nothing in this world. I understand. Yes. Because everybody is in the mode of tamas. Can you make the difference? But if you yourself are going to behave exactly like those other people and keep on giving reasons after reasons after reasons, and blame other people for not happening, for nothing happening in my world, then you are not a good leader. Then from tamas to become rajasic is not possible for you. The only reason why I keep on plodding and pushing people is this. Every satsang of mine, I give one idea. And believe it or not, I actually give one idea. And I tell them how this whole thing works. It's a hint. I can hint on those ideas. I can tell you 10 years down the line what is going to happen. I can tell you 20 years down the line what can happen. But nobody takes the hint. Nobody works on it. Those who worked with me a couple of years ago will remember how I have told them how the world is going to be today, and by 2025 what is going to happen. But nobody believes in it. It's because from tamas to rajas is impossible for these people. But the same thing done by another country, they are doing it. How? So this is what he says. To break out of this wonderful maya of mine is extremely difficult. You have to make extreme efforts to get out of it. People are such weaklings today. People can't get up at specific hours. They make concessions after concessions after concessions every single day. They'll tell me, Guruji, 4 बजे उठने का, 4:30 बजे उठने का, so difficult, you know. Sir, to get up is difficult. I mean, what are you, man? To do your work is difficult. If one job is given, they will make 100 kinds of statements over there. You know, this is not done, that is not done, this is not provided, that is not provided, nobody does the work, I don't know how to do it, there was no internet, there is not this. My goodness gracious, hundreds of reasons why it can't be done. You give them one job, they can't do it. So this is what it is. It's called the veil of Maya. Maya is literally caught you by your neck. So here he says, for this most wonderful Maya of mine, consisting of the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, I'm going to entangle you in this world. I'm going to see who has the guts to come to me. Guts to come to me, it's extremely difficult to break through this veil of Maya of mine. It is Krishna's Maya. Please understand this. Those who are Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, all the 3 gods are entangled in this Maya. You think they are not entangled? Brahmaji runs after things. He's Rajasic in nature. He got deluded by Krishna also. He came on the earth because he was wondering, who is this little boy? And then he took the entire team of his, that means all those gwalas, gopis, and the cows and everything, he made them disappear, not realizing that he's contending with Krishna. So he is like that, Rajasic in nature, trying to show off. Vishnu, when he came on earth, he became that sow, pig. And he told, I have got a family, you know. I've got a wife, I've got children now, so many. I'm going to roll around in this nice shit over here and be happy. All the gods got upset. They told Shiva, go and bring him back. He's rolling in the mud and he's very happy. So Shiva goes over there and says to him, Vishnuji, kya kar rahe hain? What are you doing? Aren't you supposed to go and do something up there? He says, no, I'm very happy with my wife and children over here. He had to strike him, kill him, and then Vishnu left for the heavens. That is Vishnu. Shiva, he got entangled in this world. Why should Shiva get angry? What is the point? If you are a yogi of the highest order, you should be having peace. Why are there so many ghosts and goblins around you? You see, this is a principle of tamas, okay? So in his world also he is entangled. He can't get out of it. See, they even recruit Kamdev to go and strike him. You know that? And he looks at him and burns him down. So Kamdev is destroyed. That happens. But why? Why would a god get angry? They are ruled by these three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. That is why he says, for this most wonderful maya of mine, consisting of the three gunas, that is the modes of nature, sattva and rajas and tamas, is extremely difficult to break through. Even the gods can't break through this. All these demigods that are there, they also can't break through. Those, however, who constantly adore me alone are able to cross it. You have to constantly 24/7, 365 days in a year, just be in love with me. Just be in love with me. Just be devoted to me. Why do you want to be in all this material worldly crap that is there? Just be devoted to me. Then it is my problem, not yours. Krishna says, then it is my issues, not yours. Brahmaji is busy making all kinds of things, okay? Vishnu is busy sustaining this world. Shiva is busy destroying this world. They are busy in their own world. They don't have time. So the other gods and the goddesses are busy. Saraswati is busy in trying to educate idiots like you. Nobody gets educated. And say, what to do? I printed so many books in my syllabus, and nobody wants to read them. They go for classes. Okay. Saraswati is, thinking like this. I think instead of catching the veena, she is catching her head and saying, what? These fellows, when I tell them to read the books and all, they don't want to read the books. They would rather go to classes and get those question papers and become graduates, postgraduates and PhDs in this world with zero knowledge. Nobody has knowledge. Sad. So Saraswati has kept her tambora aside. Veena. She's kept it aside. What to do? Parvati, well, she's already in the dynamic Kali avatar. She's saying, now I have a lot of blood to drink. I mean, this is what is happening to these gods. So you as a human being, what are you? You are already lost in this world. So kindly don't be lost. Krishna says, just be devoted to me. Just don't worry the rest of things. I am putting you on autopilot. You are my AI, automatic. I'll put you on that auto thing. Everything in your world will be artificial intelligence. Because you are like that, artificial intelligence. You don't think. Don't have to bother your head about it. I put a program set in you. So we'll go to the next verse, which is verse 15. Chapter 7. Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 15. Those whose wisdom has been carried away by Maya and are of demonic nature, such foolish and vile men of evil deeds do not adore me. Those whose wisdom has been carried away by Maya. Maya carries away the wisdom. I will tell you how it is carried away. When a man looks at a beautiful woman, he is carried away by the wisdom. There is no wisdom left in that man at all. He doesn't think straight at all. Think. He looks at that person and just becomes an idiot in life. Lust comes in this person. When he sees his own brother making a lot of money and he himself is not making anything, he becomes greedy in nature. Why is that fellow getting more? Why am I getting less? Maya struck him. Maya has now entangled him. There is no wisdom left. There are people in this whole world who will do any kind of heinous acts for the sake of lust and greed. Anything. anything for that matter. They don't really mind it. So when a person is carried away by lust, greed and all these other, dangerous Shadripusas of this world, what is going to happen? Those whose wisdom has been carried away by Maya and are of demonic nature. The demons are not there somewhere else, by the way. We think that the demons are there in the hell. Oh, they have got two teeth coming out and big helmet over there. Nothing like that. Demons are not that kind of a creatures. You are mistaken if you think that there are demons like that. They're very tall and big and they carry a club and they will smash you like that. No. They are not the green Hulk, They are not Hulk. It is you who is demonical in nature. When you are filled with tamas, you are a demon yourself. There was a demon called the sleeping fellow. Ravana's brother, Kumbhakarna. Are you not like that? Sleepy fellow? Don't disturb me now. Don't disturb me now. What? Don't disturb me now. What is this? Don't disturb me now. What is the difference between you and that demon Kumbhakarna? Nothing. So aren't we calling our own kids and people like that? Kumbhakarna ke jaisa soya hai. See, look at him. He's sleeping like Kumbhakarna. Don't we say these words? He's not like Kumbhakarna. He is Kumbhakarna. There are villainous characters in this world. Laziness is one of them. So tamoguna filled with it are demonical creatures. मैं क्यों करूं? Why should I do it? कुछ मिलने वाला है? Am I going to get anything out of it? If I am not going to get anything out of it, why the hell should I do it? You will find that just to repair a tap also in your house, it is not going to happen. Why? Who's got the time, man? Sir, full day you are sitting and doing nothing and you don't have the time. So this is what he says. The wisdom has been carried away by Maya. People will just keep on cribbing. They'll just keep on talking bad about others. They will get angry for no rhyme or reason. Strange as it may sound, person demands something but is not willing to give. To wear a mask is important in today's day and age. That also they will not wear and then they will fight. Why should I wear it? Sir, you have to wear it because you will contaminate other people. Not the other way around. You're like that itself tamasic in nature. If you don't wear the mask, it's not that coronavirus is not going to strike you. That is a different issue. But with your anger and your egoistic nature, you're going to destroy other people's life. There is one small thing which was there in one of the videos. People were sitting in the aircraft. The woman who is sitting in front, she had long hairs. So she put her hairs on that seat behind. The behind seat person was watching television, that small TV which is there in front of them. He or she was watching the television. So he said, please remove your hair. No, that person kept on putting the hair back again like this and sitting. So this person behind takes chewing gum and puts all over the hair and then takes a cup of coffee and dips that hair in the coffee. And they post it on social network. This is tamas. This is the demonical nature of ours. The person in front is egoistic to the core. Doesn't want to give way to the one behind. So puts the hair over there. The one behind is putting chewing gum on the hair and putting the hair in the coffee is another stupidity. Don't you think so? The other person will not allow you to work and you will not allow the other person to work as well. So you are not progressing, neither is that other person progressing. So you are both going to regress. This is what Krishna is talking about. In today's day and age, and those whose wisdom has been carried away by Maya, the wisdom is carried away by Maya. Maya is tainting you so much, nothing in this world is affecting you. And or of demonic nature. This demonic nature is so strong. Such foolish and vile men of evil deeds do not adore me. So when you do this kind of evil deeds, how will you adore me? What does adoration to Krishna means? Very simply, that day I was doing on Saturday and Sunday, I am doing the Uddhav Gita. Krishna says one very simple thing. See me in everybody. If you have your fight with your father and mother, do you see me in them? No. Your neighbor, you are having a fight with your neighbor because they don't park the car properly, or they don't have, they throw all their kachra on your side, all the dirt on your side. You fight with your neighbor. Do you see me in your neighbor? No. Your own boss, who is just full day cribbing, and you are also doing the same thing to him or her, whoever. And your company, do you see me in that? In your boss? No, you don't adore me anywhere. Why do you think I am there in that person? I am there in that person so that you change. If you change, then the whole attitude will change. Krishna will be with you if you see me in everything. However, who constantly adore me are able to cross. Can you adore me and admire me? I will give you a very simple understanding. Your neighbor is throwing all the dirt on your side, correct? Can you see Krishna in that person? No, you can't. But if you have a child and your child is messing up your whole bedroom, is throwing kachara all over the place, do you get angry with your child? No. You say he's just a child, and clean up the place nicely. He poops all over the place, he pukes all over the place, and yet you are kind and considerate as a mother or a father, cleaning the whole place up. Isn't it true? You can, overcome your child's problem, but your neighbor's problem you can't see, because in your child you will see Krishna, but in your neighbor you can't see Krishna. All right? Think. I want you to think. All right? If your wife puts her long hairs in front of you and tickles you a little bit, or just doesn't allow you to watch the television, you will think it is fun. Isn't it? Are you going to put, gum or something like that? No. You will feel very nice about it. Maybe you will take her in your arms. But what happened to the one sitting in front? You're getting irritated by that person. So when you get to this point of seeing Krishna in everything, that time you will understand the truth. But if you see villains in everybody, then you are a demonical person yourself. Don't blame the company. Don't blame your boss. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame your neighbor. Don't blame anybody in this world. You are demonic in nature. That is what he says. Those whose wisdom has been carried away by Maya are of demonic nature. If you get tainted by people around you, if you get tainted, don't blame your boss. Don't blame your company. Don't blame your father, mother. Don't blame the world. Don't blame the police people. Don't blame anybody. Don't blame the politicians. Blame yourself. You are demonic in nature, not the other people. Your wisdom is carried away by Maya. So if your wisdom is carried away by Maya and are of a demonic nature, such foolish and vile men will not adore me. Then how can you love this world? How can you see me in anybody? So you will never see me in anybody. And that is the way you will not admire me. And when you don't adore me, I can never be yours. So we have come to the end of verse 15, chapter 7. So next time we will do verse 16 onwards. Take care. Have a great day. We will be doing the Dasbodh and the Sai Sat Charitra in the evening. Okay. Dasbodh is at 4:30 and Sai Sat Charitra will be at 7. So I'll see you all in the evening. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.